Welcome back. It has finally arrived, Field of Glory Empires. And as I'm such a big fan of the Field of Glory 2 battle system, I'm going to be looking at this game here. And let's take a look at it. Let's go to scenarios. Now, I've watched several tutorial videos on how to play this game. I really still are clueless, but I'm just going to show a few things. This is basically a very basic review of the game, of my first impressions, and of course I'm in the destroy Rome mood, more like it. Yeah, I want to pillage Rome, and I said I'm going to play the Senones first. It's probably not going to last very long, but there's also a very good campaign since I want to burn Rome. An excellent scenario here is the Pyrrhus scenario. And that's probably going to be the first one that I'm going to play before I get into a major campaign here. And that's probably one that I'm going to record. But like I promised, I said I'm going to play the Senones first. And it's probably going to be a very short campaign. But let's get started here. And I'm going to point out some things that I've noticed about this. Let's go to the Grand Campaign. And finally, the dream has come through where I can play a grand strategy campaign game along with the Field of Two Glory tactical battles. And that's a feature the developers have advertised for like as long since they made a first announcement that this game was going to come out. That's why I've been looking forward to it for so long. Okay, I think here it gives you a menu here of all the nations you can play. And I'm going to click on the Senones here just to get started. And of course, I'm at war with Rome. So this is going to be a short video just of my first impressions here. And let's get started as the Senones. And the context here says you're a Celtic power. Before the start of the game, the Senones were one of the most important of the Celtic tribes. After all, they named themselves the Senior, the ones who know. War with Rome saw their destruction. I got a ruler named Petrix. Okay, now let's take a look at the gameplay. And I don't know about this difficulty 3 out of 5. Interest 3 out of 5. I really don't know. I can just imagine. As far as difficulty, it's probably one of the most difficult nations I imagine to play because you're Rome. You're at war with the superpower of the Italian peninsula, Romans with heavy infantry. Let's look at the gameplay here. You start a war with Rome and you have to find some way to avoid defeat. Manage this and you might be able to reassert your dominance over the other Celtic tribes in the Po Valley. Well, I really don't want to go to war with my fellow Celtic brothers. I'd rather get strong and burn Rome and plunder them and also take care of the Etruscans and get a province here, and that's really my goal. And let's take a look at the modifiers here. Each different nation or type of government or type of culture has special modifiers. Like the Senones are a group of Gauls, Celtic Gauls, and they have clans, as these people had. These people are organized in warlike clans. Extra manpower, 10%. If a tribal nation, culture level 1, can collapse on the death of a ruler, well, sure. It's all tried around the chief. And the fact that you're a horde here, the horde is a loosely organized group of tribes with no concern about infrastructure or permanent constructions. Men are easily made into warriors. So you have a manpower bonus of 15% and infrastructure penalty of 10%. Now all these things, like, if you really want to learn about this game and all the mechanics here, and I really am clueless to a lot of it, but there's different types of currency and flows here. And when it talks about infrastructure, money, and all that, we'll get into that here. Like from my take, I have watched other YouTube videos on it, and this is from my understanding. But in my playthrough, I may address a lot of questions. And if any of you know this game even a lot better, I welcome your answers in the comments because I'm going to be asking a lot of questions on things that I'm not clear about. And I guess we can get started here. I don't know what the difficulty is. This has got to be an impossible game for such a tiny little nation here. And like I'm going to go through my own thought process here. And okay, I'm these guys here, the Senones. And I have an army here. And it gives you an army strength. Like this says a strength of 24. I think when you had the selection of the Romans here, I think they were in the 60s or something, when you had a choice that there was a Roman army. So this is where I'm definitely going to have to use the Field of Glory 2 tactical battle, because under the battle system here, an army with a 64 versus a 24, it's not going to be much of a contest. But on a tactical map, I may be able to pull some of my tricks against the AI and possibly stave off defeat immediately. And I'm expecting a Roman attack. Of course, I'm at war with the most powerful, like I said, the most powerful nation on the Italian peninsula, which is not a good idea. I mean, this is like a bunch of backwoods hicks, fighting a SWAT team and federal helicopters. That's what it's going to feel like with these heavy legions with heavy infantry coming in. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, these are the different type of units that it has. And when you put it into the Field of Glory 2 game, it's going to translate into something else. But I can imagine heavy infantry. That's going to be the close order infantry. And of course, you have the cavalry here. This is the good Gallic cavalry. I'm glad I have that. I have noticed, watching the other videos on the Roman armies, they do have missile cavalry. I don't know if that's really historically accurate, but I can imagine if you had a horseman back in those days in 310 BC, you had the equites. Like in the regular Field of 2 Glory battles, the Roman army at that time, you're only really pretty much facing infantry, the velites, but not missile cavalry. So I don't know if this is just something that whenever they have cavalry and horses, you can have missile cavalry, but there's no way that they're as good as the Numidian cavalry. I don't know if that takes that into effect, but you get a bunch of missile cavalry, javcav harassing you. That's a real problem, and I don't think Rome actually had that at that time period. They had the velites or light javelin units on foot. So that may be a historical inaccuracy in this game, but it could be a real pain in the ass playing against it, because I noticed my army here, as a Senones, I don't have any javcav or any missile units, so that could be problematic. Maybe my garrison has a few, but yeah, I mean, I know the Romans have. I watched people play Rome in the first turn, so let's look at this here. My first impressions, like I said, there's probably a lot better people out there that know about this game. I'm only playing the Senones because I know I'm going to get into a battle right at the first turn where I'm going to have to use Field of Glory 2, which I'm very familiar with. But like I said, once I get exterminated here, which is a great possibility, the first campaign I'm going to play where I have any clout at all is the Pyrrhus campaign. And I know I can take Rome with that. That's not going to be much of a problem the way I play Field of Glory 2. But like I said, I promised I wanted to play the Senones, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. There's one main thing in this game. Okay, the type of government is important. Now let's look at this leader here. I got a crappy leader here. This ruler is very bad in the affairs of war, with few competent generals and troops, unable to fight with great efficiency. Nothing can be attained. Manpower penalty 20%. let's cancel this here. Wow. I don't even know if it's probably just best to restart this damn thing because that's very important. If you get stuck with an idiot like this here, I can tell you right now that's not when you want to play that. So, wow. His troops, there's no way I stand a chance with a moron like that. So, like I said, this is good that this come up here because if you run into this here, all right, let's just change this thing here and let's start over because let's do this again. Hopefully, I do want a better leader. And like I said, if you get the historical leaders with a lot of factions, you got to stick with them. But like with a tribal clan like this, it just randomly picks somebody. So I know I've had better ones before that I just looked over, but this is probably the worst one I've ever had. So if you play a nation, obscure nation, like I'm playing the Senones, make sure you get a decent leader. So let's take a look at this again. I hope I get somebody better. If not, I'm just going to keep on trying because I'm trying to defeat Rome, and you got to have a good leader. I cannot be plagued by, Okay, here we got. There's something better here. Summix. Bad administrator. Okay, that's bad diplomat, bad administrator. Very good military. Okay. This ruler is excellent in the affairs of war. With the help of his generals, he will organize a proficient army to serve his ambitions. Leader force pool bonus 2, reduction 30% on experience needed to level up. Equipment, okay, well, but he's a bad administrator. This ruler is a bad administrator. Under his rule, the state will progressively become more inefficient. Decadence by 10%, taxation penalty by 10%, no. Bad diplomat. See, now that's a bad thing because then everybody else can just declare war. I mean, let's take a look at, for example, the boy. There is a diplomacy button here. And let's take a look at the boy. Okay, you want cooperation? Well, there's a 23% chance. That's good. So maybe he's not that bad at diplomacy. Celtic cooperation, 63% chance. I guess your ruler negotiates badly, minus 16%. But he is excellent in the military, so I may want to keep this guy. Since my objective is to defeat the Roman army, I may just, since the AI, your ruler negotiate badly 6%, like I've looked at rulers that are very good and it's only like a 6% difference, so that's not that bad. As far as decadence and infrastructure, well, since it's a tribal society, I don't think that's going to be that critical. I think the most important thing is military leadership, and he does have that. So, but your progress in decadence here, this is also very important. Ugh. Well, I'm really not seeking as the Senones to build a long-term Mediterranean empire. My goal is to fend off the Romans, either draw them to the peace table where they can give me tribute or do something like that, or I can sack Rome. And I think I have the perfect setup for this right now. Regardless of that, yeah, the other leader before that, that was just ridiculous. He's 36 years old. He's a little bit more mature. And only the progress and decadence thing, but I'm a tribal society, so I don't really care. Okay. And now with the provincial system here, okay, I do have manpower increases. I do have this here. And let's look at the army. It's no different. No. So I'm a little more combat effective, so I am possibly may have a chance against the Roman army. See, this is up to 26 instead of 24. May not make much of a difference in this game system here, but I bet hopefully on the Field of Glory 2 battle it's going to make a huge difference. And now for this video here, also I'm going to try to attempt to look at the economy here, and because there's a lot of management here. You have a population, and you need to spread them out over these separate 4 different areas here. And it produces, one is for food and population growth. The other one is for public works and military. And then there's one money. Oh, I got a usurer. No, I got to kick those guys out. Oh, that's decadence. No, I don't want any usurer. Okay, and then there's also fortune teller, but I do have a positive in money and a positive in population. Now, you can build buildings in each region, but the problem is, before you even think of doing that, like this here, no building. If you want to build a building, it gives you a choice of buildings, and it tells you how many turns it will take to build. But the thing is, even if you started here with this fishery here, that doesn't mean that in 3 years you're going to have a fishery. You first have to look at, see, the infrastructure cost is 45. So in order to be able to build this building, from what I can see from this game, is it's better for you to save up that 45 infrastructure, and then when you click on the building, it's going to take 3 turns to build. So there's this one thing in this game here, you know, it could say, well, you don't have infrastructure, not allowed to build. But see, if I click here, it's going to let me build this building. But first I have to save the infrastructure, so that could take several more turns. And then you're going to look at this and say, wait a minute, this is supposed to be built in 3 turns. No, it's not. It's 3 turns after you save the, you accumulate that infrastructure. So that's what got me first when I started experimenting with this. But I think I'm right on this part here. So how much infrastructure do I have? Well, see this, like I said, this costs 45 infrastructure. So you have to stockpile this first before that building can even be built. And then after that, it's going to cost 1 infrastructure. So whatever infrastructure you're producing, which is right here, see this province here of Picenum is producing 15 infrastructure per year. So it will be 3 years before you can build that 45 infrastructure fishery. So actually from now it would probably technically be 6 turns. And the thing is you can only use that infrastructure in this particular region to build that building. Now there's a nice feature here that if you gain a whole bunch of regions or more than 50%, you develop a province, and I guess then all the resources can share. So you don't have to have the 45 infrastructure specifically in that area. You can build that building as soon as you gain that as a province. But yeah, I'm just learning here. So you have Italic slaves, Celtic citizens, Italic citizens. So of course the Senones conquered this area about 80 years prior. So of course within less than a century the citizenry is still mostly Italic. And they did sack Rome, but that was already, several decades before that under Brennus. But like the nice thing is, you gain population by growth here. It tells you growth in 9 turns, so you gain another citizen, and then you can allocate them to these different areas to work. And the thing is, if I win a battle against the Romans, I will be capturing some more Italic slaves, and they can work my plantations or whatever I got here. So this is my basic understanding. So let's take a look here. All right, I'm going to do the diplomacy thing. What was I looking at? There's a Senones. I got all this modifiers, decisions, objectives. He's bad at administration, but he's good at equipment and war. So I have to balance this out. Since I'm trying to plunder Rome, this is probably the optimal for me. Objectives is Picanum, basically hold this area. An overview, wrong. Okay, we already looked this. But I'm probably going to be decaying, so... But it's probably not going to be that critical for a tribal unit. My goal is just to survive here. Now, the way you win this game is you gain legacy here, so I get 1 per turn. So a nice thing is, even if I plunder Rome, I may get a ton of legacy, and even if I get exterminated, there's still a possibility I can win the game. I don't know. If you accomplish some feats that are just, out of this world, but your civilization doesn't survive, you may still win the game. It's an interesting concept. Okay, where's my... Okay, ledger. That's what I wanted to find here. This is important. All right, like I said, that one building that I clicked on would cost 45 infrastructure, but I have 0. So I can't build anything right now. And in Picanum, I am getting 15 infrastructure a turn. And on the other, Emilia, I'm getting 14. So I'm going to have to save up on each one of them before I can, build a building. And that building commences within an X amount of turns. So there's no point in me building anything right now or even attempting to, because I have 0 infrastructure available. My money and population is good, so that means my food is good. I can keep this here, my infrastructure. So this is regions. Okay, regions by population. Okay, I only have 2 provinces. That's why I chose the Senones, because it's a small province. There's only 2 provinces, so there's not much to learn or explain, really. And I have a shot at fighting the Romans right off the bat, so this is why I'm doing this. So it divides up the population of 5 and 7 here. You have 2 citizens, 4 citizens, 3 slaves each. And it tells you when you gain a population and how many turns. And decadence, this is still something, I kind of understand it, but I have no clue how to control it. But, once I get infrastructure population, I may be able to figure it out. But I think it's a lot worse in really civilized kingdoms or empires. That's huge. But since I'm a tribal community, it's probably not that bad. Oh, decadence rate per turn 0.15. Shoot. And that's in the capital area. So, but I do have good loyalty and ethnicity. That's about correct. Okay, let's look at food here. Okay, this is what I have stockpiled. I have 10 food stockpiled in Emilia and 18 food stockpiled here. And each one is producing 3 a turn. 3 in Emilia and 12 in Picanum. And that's the capital area. And also the culture. It stockpiles culture. That's important. I guess that helps against decadence. When you stockpile culture, it goes up against, decadence. I think that's what it is from what I heard. Like I said, if I'm wrong on something and you guys know this game better, please let me know, because I'm just learning this thing here. And I'm just giving my first impression. So I like this. This is kind of realistic. The decadence will keep you can't just steamroll like in Rome 2 Total War, that Rise of the Republic thing. You start out like at, I think, like 390 BC, 400 BC or 390 or something. But one little, like, Rome can conquer the whole Italian peninsula like within 30 years. And that's so unrealistic. Like, you can't build Rome in a day. So, like, if you conquer a lot of provinces, a lot of regions really fast, your decadence is going to drop, so you're going to have to slow down. You're going to have to spread your culture. And this is a very, very vital part of this game here. You cannot expand too quickly, which is very good, and that's realistic in a sense. I love it. But it's probably going to piss me off greatly because I'm not going to be able to control it, but who knows, you know. So this is here, and I guess I can keep everything the way it is. I mean, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to try to... I'm not going to build anything until I accumulate my infrastructure here in these regions. Okay, and then regions military. Okay, it tells you here equipment income. I get 40 equipment income. And there is a cost in maintaining. Okay, you do need that equipment. You have to accumulate equipment in order to recruit new units. And there's a good, let me give you a good example here from what I can observe. All right, let's go over here to the recruitment thing, and there's a recruitment queue. And let's say warriors. Okay, it takes, you'll see down here, it takes metal, and you have that stored up here. This is how much metal it has stored. It takes money, that's your store, and it takes manpower here. This is how much you have stored and how much is growing per year. But I have no equipment stored yet, but in a year I will. So even if I attempted to recruit this warrior right now, let's say I want to recruit the warrior. Like right here. Okay. It says next turn, but really, this warrior is not going to pop up next turn because, oh, maybe it will if it adds that stockpile, but say, I'm not sure. It may pop up next turn because, will it pop up next turn or the next turn before? Because I have no equipment right now, but next turn I'll get 40, so will that, I still don't understand that. Will that unit be recruited in the year 309 or in the year 308? Because the equipment will be available in 309, but I would imagine it would take some basic training and all that. So maybe the unit will appear in 308. I don't know. That's still, I'm going to have to test that out. But it shows you right here. See, now I'm going to be -5 in manpower because I recruited this unit here, and the money went down too. But I may recruit this warrior just to see where. But if Rome invades and takes that area, then I just blew it. But let's look over here, for example. Okay, you can recruit heavy infantry. See, that will require 50. So if I put this down right now as a recruitment, okay, 8 turns. But I'm experimenting around here, so obviously I'm not going to build this guy. But I do need a warrior. See, cavalry, I need stable. I don't have this. I cannot recruit mercenary cavalry. I can recruit light cavalry, but let's see, what does it take? It takes 15. So I can recruit light cavalry. Is that missile cavalry? I'm not sure. Well, let's do this here. Warrior and a light cavalry. But like I said, next turn 15. This costs 10. And this costs 15 in metal, so 25. So I will have next turn 40 in equipment, but whether that will immediately next turn go to these guys and they can be recruited, or will it be 2 turns when they pop up? That's the question, so I'm testing that. So I still have -6 money and -17 manpower. That's okay. That's no problem at all. I think that's all I can really do as far as economically goes. I mean, I can garrison my unit in this city here, and then the Romans are going to besiege. I don't want to do that. If the Romans attack me, I believe the garrison army will come out and support me because it's defending the province. So I get the benefit of these urban militias, these type of units that are here. So let's go with that. But I am going to build these two units, and if I do survive one turn, I'll be able to see whether they pop up immediately or not. Oh, what am I doing here? No, don't do that. Stay there. Now, another thing is just how long does it take? See, every turn is 1 year. Okay, so moving down to Sicily would take 2 years. Okay, all the way down to the boot of Italy would only take 1 year. That's about right. Because a lot of people saying, you know, the different. Some people were complaining about these multiple battles that take place. You know, if a battle's a draw, then another round happens and another round happens, and they were complaining about that. But you got to realize a turn is 1 year. So, like, if you look at Hannibal's army when he was up here at the Battle of the Trebia, it took him about a year to go from up here to down here. That's realistic. I mean, from what I can see here, the movement. And he would have fought battles several ways. And when he went into a province and, you know, fought a battle, you know, with a Roman several times, he'll have to defeat that army before he has to continue on moving. So, yes, you have to have subsequent rounds until there's a decisive winner, and then he can move on and have several battles. So that's a good realistic concept in this game. Because you got to remember, it's every turn is 1 year. So let's keep this here. Stay in your province. Let's take a look at. I'm going to do some diplomacy here. Okay, with the Etruscans, 23% chance of final cooperation. So I'm going to send them a message. So I've asked for cooperation. It's a very limited diplomatic thing here, but the Samnites of Samnium. Let's try to get cooperation with them too. Who knows? The independent Italics. These you can't. I don't think you can do any diplomacy with them. So I got the Etrusci. Let's go with the boy cooperation. They're brothers, right? Ask for cooperation here. The Celtici cooperation, 63%. Yes, let's do that. The Kelpid, they're not at war with anybody. They're amiable. A little distant, but I'm going to try to fix that. See, that's the problem with a little nation like this and the AI, what I've seen from other YouTube videos. Everybody just wants to declare war against you. This is why I don't have much hope in surviving this here. So I'm going to pick, when I start my campaign, I'm going to do the Pyrrhus for fun. And then if I really get serious about this game, I'm going to pick a successor nation or Rome or Carthage, you know, to start a serious campaign. But like I said, I would just want to have fun here for now. I mean, there is no reason why I can't ask any of these nations here. Tarentum. Yeah, anything bordering Rome here, I want to try to get cooperation with. Maybe they'll declare war against them, but from what I've seen in this game here, Rome can just spit out legions like crazy. But like I said, I've looked at the ledger here, and what I'm producing, I'm still producing the same amount. Regions overview, 14 and 15 infrastructure, 9 culture. Like I said, I can't build anything until I get my infrastructure, so that's about my first overview as the Senones. And I think this is pretty much everything that I can do. I don't think I can do anything else here. with such a small country other than just wait for the Roman army to come. And like I said, with a army of 26 facing something in the 40s or 60s, I'm definitely going to have to use the Field of Glory 2 battle. So, now I've heard a lot of other people saying, they don't like, the battle system's pretty good here. If you have a clear advantage, use this battle system here, no problem. But if you're at a disadvantage, use the Field of Glory too. Terrain's also going to be very important. And I had a lot of people complaining about the battle system, this importing and exporting. It's nothing. The developers that have developed this game have advertised that since day one. And if you don't want to play the Field of Glory 2 battles, you don't have to. You can use this battle system here, but you're just relying on some die rolls, and it's all about frontage. If you have less frontage, you're automatically going to get flanked. But in the Field of Glory 2 game, you can position your units tactically where you may have, even though you're outnumbered and all that, you may spring an ambush. I mean, that's what I like about Field of Glory 2, especially playing a nation like this here. And somebody even complained about the siege system. Well, Field of Glory 2 doesn't take the siege in the naval battles into consideration. No, it doesn't. But the thing is, assaulting a city, you're not forced to assault a city. You can just besiege, but it's going to cost you supplies. But you're not forced to do that battle, so you can always pull back, or you can assault it if you have good odds. So you have to use this battle system here. But so you have to be very careful when assaulting cities here. And naval battles, well, you have the option of retreating into a port if you feel that you're not going to win a naval battle. So just stay in port. And I know there's another game out there. I remember some ancient Mediterranean warfare. I'm surprised they didn't partner up with them where you can fight your naval battles. I forgot the name of that, but it came out around the same time as Field of Glory 2. So, that's why I'm just giving you my first impression. I like this game. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it's a big learning curve. But I guess once you get the hang of it, you'll know what to do. Now, another thing that's seemingly aggravating, but kind of realistic, is your choice of buildings. Because you have many building choices, and it's like, okay, I want to build a palisade or a wall, but there's nothing available here. Well, the way you can make it available is you have this shuffle thing here. And of course, shuffle the structure proposal. It will cost you 16 infrastructure. Of course, I'm not going to get new buildings in 2 turns because I need 16 infrastructure. So it's going to happen once I have 16 infrastructure and I put this on queue, 2 turns later it'll shuffle new buildings. And hopefully you'll get the one that you want, but if you don't, you don't. So what it is basically the local economy, the local people, the local families that rule those businesses there, they're telling you as a governor, this is what we need. And, when you're a leader, even if you're a dictator, there's no such thing as absolute dictatorship. I mean, you may have control of the military, the army, and somewhat control of the population, but there's still guilds, professional companies, and corporations. They existed back then like they do today. You have a corporate lobby, okay? And this is the lobby that's pressuring you that this is what we want built. So it's going to cost you to change it, to grease some palms to get different lobbies out there. So this is a very irritating feature, but it is real. So these are the lobbies that are lobbying for you to build these structures in their regions. That's the local community, and you have to go with, basically the will of the people is still, even if they have their little elites and all that, you still as a leader got to do what they tell you to do. and this is what they offer you, so I'm going to have to pick the best, and then later on, hopefully new choices come out. I think once you get a building built, it'll give you the upgrade version, or if it's final, you'll probably get another choice. So, yes, that's good too. Aggravating, but yeah, that's yeah, that's good. It's very, very realistic, and it even applies to today. That's the lobby power you have with the construction. So I guess I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm just learning this game, and as an ancient historian, I love it. I think this is the top game. I didn't care for Imperator. I didn't buy it, but just the mechanics and the type, I didn't care for it. But this is the game I was looking forward to for a long time, and my wish came through. And I'm not going to be moving any of these guys around yet. It's a good idea to spread them out and all this, but I don't think it's necessary yet. Hopefully I will win my first battle against the Romans and may capture some Italic slaves that I can, distribute into these other areas here. So I think I'm good for turn 1 right now. And let's see what happens. And let's hit the end turn button. Okay, there's a Roman army of 46. Oh, they did not attack me, those arrogant Roman cowards. Okay, so at least I will be able to see now. All right, let's take a look now what I have. Oh, I did get my light cavalry, and I did get my warriors. That's good. And my money is back up and everything, so I did get them. So when that equipment got delivered on that turn, it recruited those units. So I guess if that equipment is available on the turn the unit is scheduled to go, it will be recruited. So excellent, I got some light cavalry. Now let's look at my economy again. And you're going to see a little difference here. Okay, I got +2 legacy. Let's look at the ledger here. So now you see here culture, I have stored 9. Okay, I didn't decay or anything, so that's good. I have 9 stored culture, and I'm still growing at 9 a turn. I may have a chance to beat the Romans. I don't know if I should march or just build another unit or two. All right, let's look at, okay, my military. I have to make sure that regions, population, my food. Okay, this is important. Okay, I don't understand. It did not. Maybe I need to. Okay, maybe I need to order a building for the infrastructure to start accumulating, so that builds it. Maybe it doesn't do anything if I don't do a building queue. I don't understand. I thought I'd have 14 and 15 here. So, all right, let's do another experiment. Should have done a lot. Okay, this is what I don't understand. I don't have any stored infrastructure. Population, I do have stored 9 culture. My military is good. Okay, I need to see the food thing. Where's the food? I thought that was what Oh, here it is. Food 26. See, it stored it. Yeah, see, 3. See, it was a 10 before, but it's stored. Okay, the food stores. And see here, the army is food usage 5. So that tells you how much food they use and the combat power. Okay, so the food stores and the culture stores Let's look at the equipment. Yeah, and equipment stores too. So you see, I had 40 here, but it subtracted that for the units that I recruited. So now I have 14 stored. And of course, I didn't recruit any units there, so I did that. So I just wonder. I think the equipment will store, but see, I'm confused about the culture, the infrastructure. I guess you have to order a building for it to store. I'm not sure. Oh, let's do something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trading. Okay, that's another thing is trade. It's kind of a system within itself. You have no control. I do have leaders here. A Tezoe, excellent. See, the problem is if you change leaders, your army's abilities go down a bit. And I think the leadership is more important in these battles here than in a Field of Glory 2. But who's the leader here? He's got offense rating 1, defense rating war, health excellent. He's a flanker. I do want to keep him. I don't know if the Romans are going to invade, but maybe I want to build. My food situation is okay. Let's build one. Let's try to build something here. See, I want to see if the infrastructure... Okay, there's no infrastructure gain here. Let's look at the ledger again. Okay, culture. Okay, infrastructure 15. I have 4 open. So, all right, let me try something here. I'm going to build something in Picenum, and let's see if it starts accumulating that infrastructure, if it starts applying towards it. Maybe there's no infrastructure, but I don't know. Stockpile, but it says stockpile. Base infrastructure production. Base infrastructure structures, national modifiers. I don't know if it just... The cost in infrastructure is zeroing out. I'm really not sure. Why didn't I stockpile 15? That's my question. Should I not have stockpiled 15 from the last turn and 14 here? Or does that only apply to the buildings? Okay, let's test it out. Okay, let's build something in Picenum. This costs 55 infrastructure, so that's a health bonus. Improved hit recovery. So let's build that. It's going to cost 55, so it will take 4 turns. So let's see if it stockpiles, to start building it. So let's do this here. And of course I'm going to, since I can, I'm going to recruit. One more cavalry, and then I'm probably going to attack the Romans. I think I can do that. So let's go to the next turn, and let's see what happens here if the Romans attack or not. Okay, the Roman cowards are attacking. I have 18 units. Flaminius. I have more combat power. These arrogant Romans. So I have more combat power, so obviously maybe my units... Oh no, they couldn't have been built yet, but... Alright, I'm being attacked by these arrogant Romans, and hopefully I can crush them and capture some slaves. And then we're going to see if the building is going to start, the infrastructure is going to start collecting towards the building. That's what I'm curious about the stockpile. That's the only thing that's confusing me. So I'm going to put this battle in a separate folder for people that can watch it. And I'm going to continue this little campaign here in the next episode after the battle result. So until next time, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this game too.